I think the newer generation of fighters have it way worse than what I did. Because when I became the champ, Instagram just came out. Then like later in the career, I started seeing it. But I already hit that top pinnacle where I was like, okay, I'm good. Like even if I have a bad day, I'm still rich. You know, I still got money to fall back on and chill. For these fighters, if they lose a fight, they're broke and everybody's beating them up. They're in a really bad spot. The hard part is the accessibility. Like they can text you on Instagram, they can message you and you get to see it. You know, fighters are probably the easiest athletes to meet. Every event, they're everywhere. Like NBA is not like that. NFL is not like that. UFC, they're like in the stands with the fans. So I feel like MMA is like still, like I said, we're very popular and famous.
But not protected.
But not, for sure.
I want to get in some personalities of Anthony, which you're a gambler. I saw firsthand. You don't mess around after an event. If we're at the casino, you are business. You're at the tables. You gamble on everything. You and your brother are rock, paper, scissors. I grew up with
2 brothers, bro. So like it's part like being competitive was like part of our household. Yeah, and we all fought. So my older brother's a fighter, my younger brother's a world champ, and I'm a world champ. So it's if my older brother was 5 more years younger, we'd be the first 3 brother world champions. That's how good he was. He just missed it by a little bit. He was a little older. So he runs our gym. So I also own Pettis Martial Arts. It's a Taekwondo style gym. So we teach Taekwondo, and that's how I grew up doing martial arts. I got introduced to Taekwondo, and like initially it was 3 boys with a single mom. She was going to Alverno College. It's a school, an all-women school in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So after school, she would work all day, pick us up, and then we would go to her college, and they had a Taekwondo program in the gym. So we went from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock every day doing Taekwondo. I used to hate it, but that was my introduction. My introduction to martial arts was Taekwondo. But that's why I have that gym. What it gave me, the life skills, what it taught me, and like the business mind. That's where my business mind came from, was that Taekwondo gym. I saw my instructor, what he was doing, what lifestyle he lived, and what he was teaching. I'm like, I want to be like that.
No, everybody, and it seems like you're kind of passing on that same type of, outside of fighting, you're kind of mentoring, obviously your brother, your younger brother, but you don't let fighting be your only end-all be-all. No. You're protecting yourself. You're very business savvy. And I feel like so many fighters can learn from you on how to not fall into that trap of you never know when you're going to get injured. You never know when your last purse is going to be there. So protect yourself with other things that you're working on. And you know, maybe not everybody will be able to put business deals together as good as you're doing, but having any type of outside interest, whether it's owning your own gym, real estate, whatever it is, it's so important. I hope as a industry and as a community, we can kind of start opening up that need for fighters to focus on. Even podcasts.
It's actually pretty cool though. It's actually happening. So like my generation of fighters are starting to do that. So if you look at Alaquinta out in New York, he started a big ass real estate company and he's bringing other fighters. Aljamain Sterling just became on him, signed with him. Joseph Benavidez also is doing real estate out here in Vegas. So they're like bringing these groups that are like teaching fighters how to invest early.
Good.
The bad thing about MMA is we don't get enough money until we're in our 3rd contract or 4th contract. So it's rare that we get to that part of it.
You're like, I wish I had money to invest with.
Now, luckily for me, I made a lot of money for a long time. You know, I turned pro when I was 17. I signed with the WEC at 19, and I became the world champ at 21, 23, and then I've been a long time making money. I'm 37 now, so I've been making good money for a long time in this sport. So I've learned. I've had those fights where I got my paycheck and it went like that, and I was broke and like shit. I have to take this next fight. So I learned a lot on the ways coming up, like how to balance my fight wins. Because when you get it, it's a lot of money. Right? It's like, especially you get a world champ, like $1 million in your bank account for the first time. You're like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then all of a sudden, the next year comes around and you owe taxes. And you're like, shit, I didn't know you owe taxes. Yeah, I put myself in a lot of positions where I learned.
Everybody does.
I learned at a young age. Like at 20, 21, 22, I put myself in those positions. And then I was like, all right, now I know what I'm trying to build after that.
Luckily, like you said, you were able to do that young, because when you're on the come up, some of those big paychecks don't come when you're too late. And then you make some mistakes like not paying taxes at the right time, and then it's just too late because you don't have the rest of your career.
Like that was initially when I first made my first money. I think that's like the thing about fighters. We're more famous than we are rich. So we got more followers than we have dollars. So people are looking at us like we go out with our friends. They're like,
help me out.
Bill comes and they're looking at you, like, hey man, like ain't you going like. So like you got to really at a young age I saw that like, all right, I can't pay for every bill. I can't be the savior for everybody. Like I did buy my mom a house. I had my brothers out and all that, but I learned how to say no, I would say. When fighters can know how to say no, it changes you as a person.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I have a terrible time saying no. And growing up dirt poor, my family, I always wanted to be the savior. I always wanted to be hey, I'm going to break the chain. We're all going to
You grew up in Arizona?
Born and raised here in
Dope.
Mesa.
Oh, yeah.
This is home, and I plan to build our movie studios out here. I plan to build our UFL franchise headquarters out here. F3 obviously is all here, so I'm going to make Mesa, Arizona on the map. We don't have anything else to really claim right now.
You're gonna do it. By the way you said it, I could tell you're gonna do it.
Thank you.
You said it.
If I'm that was a weird high five, but if I'm one thing, it's stubborn, and if I say something, I can't let somebody say, "Remember that time when you said you were gonna do that?"
Yeah.
So thank you. It's gonna happen.
I'll see what you're doing, man. It's awesome.
Well, you being a part of that's another thing I want to talk about is you've been so easy to communicate with. And like you obviously have the name, the stardom, the ability to be a little bit of a prima donna if you wanted to, but you're like, it's probably because of the business mind. Yeah. You're able to be like, I could be The Rock, but if you're not willing, if people don't want to work with you, if people are just like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a one and done thing. So you being able to, with APFC, F3 has been a sponsor, and you guys are just like, you know what, how do we grow together? How do we make this a good value exchange for each other? Not a lot of fighters that I shouldn't say that. I love working with all the fighters that I've worked with, but they just don't have that same mentality where sometimes it's like
the other side of it.
Know the value. You're a legend, but kind of like what you were saying beforehand, you're more famous than you are rich, or you're more famous than you are.
Well, not me anymore, thank God.
Yeah, hey.
I turned that corner. I think I only have like 1.5 million on Instagram, but
only.
When you come up though, that's what I was saying. Like when these guys come up, they get like popular on Dana White Contender Series. They're making 10,000 and 10,000. It's like, fuck, how am I supposed to live off of that, let alone help other people? Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to that, on the come up, when you need to protect your money the most so that you can, have residual, people need bills paid right then. People need, hey.
And they owe people.
And you're like, you're my sibling, you're my parent, I want to help, but you can't help somebody on that to the next level if you are vulnerable of falling off that level. But it's hard for me to say no, man. I'm like the biggest pushover, and to a fault, but luckily when I've learned just then, if that's my weakness, arm myself with a good team, because when people actually care about the success of the community and have your back, man, I've been able to do way better, way quicker.
For sure.
I don't mean to beat that dead horse, but so 1 million followers, like you said, you've turned the corner of being just as rich as famous, but I've heard from so many legends that I get to work with, I would choose money over fame any day. Like how toxic does it feel or resentful do you feel when you're walking through like a Vegas casino and people are asking for selfies, but you know that they wouldn't give two shits if you were on the street or if you were not, to me, that would feel so empty and resentful that I would almost resent fame.
Yeah, I think it's both ways, because there's like these real genuine fans that are like, they see you and they're like, oh my God, you changed my life.
That's true.
The things that you've done, like, because I lost my dad as a kid, and I feel like when I tell that story, like the people that lose, parents or like go through a hard time at that age, they relate to it. So when they see my story, a lot of people come up to me and like give respect and like, hey man, we respect what you do, and big fan. And then you got those one that are just like, they see somebody else take a picture with you and they're like, hey, let me get a picture. But I respect that. Like the pictures part, I love that part. The hard part is the accessibility. Like they can text you on Instagram, they can message you, and you get to see it. So like I think the newer generation of fighters have it way worse than what I did. Because when I became the champ, Instagram just came out. Brand new Instagram just came out. So I didn't have like that. Then like later in the career, I started seeing it. But I already hit that top pinnacle where I was like, okay, I'm good. Like even if I have a bad day, I'm still rich. I still got money to fall back on and chill. Where these fighters, they don't have, if they lose a fight, they're broke and everybody's beating them up. They're in a really bad spot. So I see it a lot with the guys that I help manage and stuff. It's hard, man. It's like a fine line between like, you got to be like, there's a book that I read and it really changed my perspective of like letting social media like get in. It's called Deep Work. Deep Work. And it's like, and for me, he uses it in a business, like an office business, but I use it as fighting. Like when a kid's training and they're doing their sparring session and they have a nice combo, they throw up their little combo on Instagram and they're just watching the comments, like waiting and they need that validation from the comments. And that's how it starts. And then the validation starts from there. They're like, oh, I must be good because everybody's telling me I'm good. You have your first failure, and everybody tells you suck, and now you're by yourself. And you're like, shit, what do I do? My back's against the wall. So, yeah, I hate the fact that social media gives it so much accessibility, especially for fighters. Like, fighters are probably the easiest athletes to meet. Like, you can.
Oh, totally.
Every event, they're everywhere. Like, NBA is not like that. NFL is not like that. UFC, they're like in the fans, in the stands with the fans. So I feel like MMA is like still, like I said, we're very popular, and famous,
but not protected.
But not, yeah, for sure.
I mean, that takes mental health to a whole nother level when we know social media is terrible for anybody's mental health with all the comparison and all but on a athlete level, I didn't even think, have you had personal like friend fighters that you've seen just
myself? Yeah. I mean, when I was the champ, right, I was the man. It wasn't there, so I didn't see the comments and stuff like that. When I did the Showtime kick, social media wasn't there. Like I didn't get to tune into that stuff. YouTube was, but I wasn't like, it wasn't like
it was
Instagram,
different.
Yeah. But like later in my career, it was there, and I started looking at it, and I got down that rabbit hole, and I had to go to his name's Micah. He's out in Vegas, a sports psychologist, and he helped me break that curse.
Good.
Super simple. 3 things: thoughts, feelings, actions. First comes a thought, then comes a feeling, and then comes an action. If you can control between these two, between the thoughts, we're all gonna have a million thoughts. Thoughts are coming through our brain. He tells us, like the way he explains it is your brain's like a radio, and we're programmed to go to triple F: fears, flaws, and failures. So like everything we do is like, oh shit, what if this happens, or what if I fail? But if you can go from the thought, the feeling that it creates, but the actions where we can break that cycle. Because like most time, if we get sad, we're feeling sad, and then we'll make a decision based on being sad. But if you can break that cycle right there, that's where you can get back to like a pillar of strength. So that helped me big time.
3 Fs. Will you say them again?
Fears, flaws, failures.
I love that. I feel like the biggest example of that everybody witnessed at the forefront was Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah.
Like when she was everybody's like, it just shows how fast a tide can move on you. Your audience, they're your most loyal fans, but then she lost that one, and
then you suck.
What's her identity? Like she felt like she just. So I feel like that psychologist could have really helped her.
Big time. He wasn't there before that, but like he's a professional baseball player, so that's why I related to him really well. And now he's like, UFC gave him to us. That's why I was like,
oh, good.
Yeah, so he's in the PI, but he actually lives right by my house down the block, so I just go see him at his office. But
call him up at 1 a.m.
Man, he helps me so much with everything, bro. Like honestly, life, my kids, and my daughter. Like, but fighting and my career, he helped me big time. Like that no lie, just fears, flaws, and failures. Like those 3 things, I was like, man, like if you can recognize where that feeling that you're getting from is coming from, then you can control that. Like, all right, this is my wife that's making me feel frustrated, and my next thing comes for frustration. Yes, it's powerful stuff, man. It's good.
I love good stuff because my background is mental and behavioral health. That's kind of where I started my business world, and it's to be able to know your own triggers and your own reactions to certain feelings. Being able to put those guardrails on. It's like when I feel this way, I usually make decisions like this. So I'm gonna, protect myself because you can't control how you feel all the time. But you can prevent, if you react a certain way, at least
our feelings come from a thought, and our thoughts are programmed to go to that
everywhere.
Yeah, triple F.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that's vulnerable, and sometimes, especially as a fighter, it's hard to show any vulnerability or show any type of, hey, I'm just like a normal human that have to work on these things. And it really, I know the audience loves to know that they're not why do I feel that way? Showtime Pettis would never feel this way, but being able to show that you can.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way a lot. Yeah.
Dang.
And I think fighters too. I feel like a lot fighters get that way a lot. And you hit it on the head. Like they think we're supposed to be like these tough, no feelings people, bunch of tattoos, and we're just fighters. But every fighter I've met is a great person. They're smart. They probably went to college to wrestle or something. Like they come from they had other options. Like this isn't all that they could do, but they love this, and that's why they do this.
And ironically, the fighters who I met are some of the most emotional.
Yeah.
Like I don't know the full rhyme or reason, but to be able to feel that much, to get in that mode of fight combat, so like that's an emotion, switch. That's a light switch that people have to manage, like in a whole nother level. And I think Chris Lieben, I always say his last name wrong, but the original season of The Ultimate Fighter, he was the prime example to me that fighters feel. So,
he's on the athletic commission in Vegas now.
No way.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, man. I saw him at the fights. I'm like, bro, you look amazing, bro. Yeah, he's
looking
athletic.
good.
Yeah, he looks clean his whole act up. At the UFC fights, when you come with me for one of them, you'll see him. He's there as actual I think hopefully he wants to become a judge because that would change everything.
Good.
Like,
We
now
need an
a real
MMA
person,
judge,
that knows this shit can actually judge. So I think that generation is coming. As these guys retire, that job's there for all these guys. If they want to be judges and be real judges, I'd rather have them judge my fight than
100%.
somebody that doesn't know how. They're
Way
going off
too many fights been ripped off.
Yeah, it's definitely have to change in fighting. Like there has to be more education given to the people that are. Because even you look at the commissions, like, I mean, not talking shit about it, but go Arizona Commission, Wisconsin Commission, I mean, Indiana Commission, it's a lot of people that have no experience in martial arts. So how are they judging one of our fights?
Important championship
and
fights.
changing these lives of these kids, man. Like, if somebody wins on UFL, that's a big fucking deal.
Totally.
That changes their lives. Someone wins on APFC, they get a chance to go to the big show. So it's like they're robbing them, even if it's at that level. But it's at that level still. Like, we're judging, even to the top. UFC's like that, too. So it's like, you got to fix it somewhere.
I love it. That is evolving in a way that I didn't realize till you just said that.
Yeah.
And for Chris Lieben, that was ironic that you.
When I saw him there, I was like, man, that's so dope that he's actually getting into that side of it.
And
you would think he's like one of the least ones you would expect.
I know. Yeah. I was gonna say. I mean, no shade to him,
just like
but
what he showed us on TV and like who he was as a person. Like,
good for him.
He changed his act up.
And it that also kind of goes to a point I was saying of mental health. We've seen so many tragedies of legends that, have had terrible outcomes recently, RIP. But it is also really cool to see some of these other ones that maybe statistically might have been more likely to thrive.
Yeah.
How do we turn that where that's more the odds, where people...
We got to change the mindset of fighters. And I think somebody just said this in an interview. I forgot, it might have been Gilbert Melendez or Eddie Alvarez, but it was. I was like, yeah, that's what they got to attach to. Like, fighters come in this game and they're like, all right, this is my it. This is my everything. Like, they got to look at it as like, this is my 5 to 10 year plan. If I'm lucky, 15. Like, I got 15 years out of it.
Wow.
So if you're lucky, 15 years. So if you're lucky, you can get 15. But it should be a 5 to 10 year plan max. And like Dana says it, this is not a job or career. It's an opportunity. Like, we have an opportunity to make a big name, and then whatever we make, put it into something else. What I'm doing.
Yeah.
Making other businesses. Like, and then that's your 30 to 50 year plan. You got to, like, once your 5 to 10, 15 year plan's over, go to your 30 year plan. And now you're not lost in this limbo for a couple years. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, it's already a rock.
Yep.